Okay. Hi, I'm Lindsay, Learning and Development Administrator at Southampton, and I'm just quite interested in the content, so I'd be interested to see what you have to say.
Hi, Sharon Bear, Accreditation Assessor. I've come on to the session today. I'm interested in the NCAT Live actually we're doing now, and also in the NLP intro.
Hi Martin, it's Donna from Accreditation. I've seen you fiddling with this system while you're over at the White House, so I thought I'd come to see what being on the receiving end is like.
Hello, I'm John Brown. I'm a DAO at Banbury, and I've come along just to see what it's all about.
Hi Martin, it's Neville. I'm from Training Operations in Amersham. I've always been just interested in the concept of NLP, but never quite tackled it as a subject. But I know quite a lot of people who've done sort of degrees in it and seem to rave about it. So I thought it'd be interesting just to get an overview. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm here because I know nothing at all about this.
Hello, I'm Vicky Veal, Accreditation Officer. Really want to see this programme because I think we could use it for a wide range of things, including our DAOs, student officers and specials.
Hi Martin, it's Pat Miller here, leadership trainer. I've got a bit of basic NLP knowledge from doing a weekend course, and I'd really like to see what you've got to say about it and refresh my learning.
Excellent, thanks for that. At least now the microphones are working. So anytime you want to ask a question during the session, please raise your hand. I can unmute your microphone and you can then talk to all the participants and to me as well. So thank you for that. I'm now going to turn off the webcam. So instead of seeing my pretty face, you can start to look at the slides instead. So again, welcome to today's session. And today we're going to look at a introduction to NLP. So 25 minutes, going to be a very general introduction, but give you a taster of what NLP is all about. So today's session has three aims really. The first one is to introduce you to the basics of NLP and how it was developed. A look at how our mind takes information from the world around us and how we process that information. And also look at the four aspects that need to be in place to help you to be excellent at whatever you do. So it's like a stepping stone to achieving success really. And we have a number of objectives for the session as well. So over the 25 minutes you'll be able to explain what the term NLP is, what it means, describe how your mind processes information and how you take it on, and state the 4 steps to excellent. So let's start at the beginning. So what is NLP? So you can tell me what the N, the L and the P stand for. You can type your answer in the box for me. Yeah, Pat. Linguistic programming? Mm-hmm. Vicky agrees with Pat. There's John. Excellent. So you all actually know what the L and the P stand for. Let's just explore those in a bit more detail now. So the N, neuro, this refers to your neurological system and the way you use your 5 senses to take on board information about the world around you. That's our touch, our sight, our hearing, our taste and our smell. So basically anything we take on and understand through these 5 different senses. It then takes all the information and transfers it into our conscious and unconscious thought processes. It also covers how your physiology works as well. So it talks about how your mind and body work as one entity, one system. So it covers how your physiology will affect your attitude and your behaviours. A lot of NLP really is focused on increasing your sensory awareness of your neurological system and be able to then manage and control that. And it controls how you actually relate and behave in a certain way. That's a neuro. Next is the linguistics. And this is where you make sense of the world around you through the language you choose to use. Every experience you have, you use communicate to refer to this to yourself and also to other people. And it's the language you choose to use that is this linguistics part. It's, again, people have different preferred methods of using language, and that comes across in how they speak and how they act. The last part is the P, the programming. This refers to how you mentally code an experience you have. It's a process or a set of steps you go through to get a specific result that you want. The outcomes you get and the results you get in yourself and others are a result of the program you're running at that particular time. Each person has a specific set of steps they have to go through mentally and physically to achieve the outcome they want to get. This can be either a positive or negative outcome, so they run codes for different things. When you are aware of these steps or programs, you can either enhance these to improve your outcomes or change them without negative outcomes to become more positive. So in a nutshell, when you have an experience, you will interpret that in a way through our 5 senses, and then how you react to that experience is based on your language and your coding in your programs. And this is how fears and phobias are caused. Most phobias are linked to a specific event. So if you're scared of spiders or snakes, there'll be one thing that's happened that's actually caused that fear to take place and to grab hold of you. That first traumatic experience will be linked into your unconscious mind. So anytime you have an experience with another spider or another snake, your unconscious mind knows how to react. So it might shake, it might be fearful, it might run away. But that's because you're now running a program based on that particular experience. So a phobia is caused through an experience, and your reaction to that is what gets coded into your unconscious mind. So whenever you see another spider or snake, you act in the same way. What NLP can do, it can change that coding and change that program so your phobia can be reduced or lessened. So that's the N, the L, and the P. Any questions on that at all? Okay, excellent. We'll progress. So a quick idea about who developed NLP. It was developed in California by 2 gentlemen, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Richard Bandler was a mathematician, John Grinder studied linguistics. And what they did, they wanted to find out what made people excellent, what was successful, what made them good at their particular jobs, their careers or life. And they found out that these people worked in a certain way, had a certain set of rules, certain strategies they actually used to become successful. And they produce from this strategies and models which they can then train other people to be. So if they find out how a person trains to be a successful trainer, they can take those aspects and put it to another trainer so they too can be successful and be good at their job. Also, they looked at 3 other people as well. They looked at someone called Virginia Satir. She was a family therapist, and she had a specific way of actually working with very dysfunctional families, and she was very specific in the language she used. And the language she used helped people turn their families around in a way that no one else could. and you've got fantastic results. So they focus on her language. They then modelled Fritz Perls, or found out more about Fritz Perls' work, who did Gestalt therapy, and found out how did he work with his patients to get fantastic results. And then they modelled another guy called Milton Erickson, who was a hypnotherapist, and he used language in a very artfully vague way to get results. So they modelled these three people, found out how they basically worked, the neurology, the linguistics, the coding they used, and together they put this together to get what we now see as NLP today. It's been around since about 1975, so it's been around for quite a long time now. So we're going to start by thinking, the rapid heredity, this is basically how we code our experiences. So basically this is a code using NLP where, say you have four people who go to a situation, those four people will have a very different experience of that situation. So for example, if someone this morning went to the Dublin Speech conference, you'll find that the four people may come away with very different aspects or an experience of that particular area based on their past experience, what they got from it, how they felt. All this will be in place. And each person has a different map. So a territory basically is the experience, and the map is what each person will produce in their mind based on the way they take on board that information, their filters. And we all have our own set of filters that we use in any situation. So that is why we have this different aspect of people in an environment. What I'd like to do is then, can you just type for me one word to describe the room you're in at the moment? Okay, from Pat. Large, quiet, warm. Teaching, bland, standard. So you can see, just by asking that one question, we get many different answers, and that's based on how you actually are producing your own particular map of that classroom, that environment. Some say it's bland, some say it's standard, some say it's teaching, some say it's okay. And so you're in the same environment, same area, but you will experience it in a way that suits you where you actually take on board information. So it's classed the map is not the territory. So we then have to find out how it takes on board. So these we call our filters to our communication. So any experience we have, we filter. And there's two ways we can actually filter it. One way is by using our conscious filters. So who can tell me what a conscious filter might be? Yeah, stop and think before you speak. Definitely. So a conscious filter is something we apply consciously. We are aware that we are doing that. So for example, I have a friend, and when he explains anything, he goes into minute detail of every aspect of a situation or something they've done. And I tend to switch off and don't listen to the detail, but I switch back on again when it goes to high level. So I constantly choose to sort of zone out. It goes to the detail part of it. So my attitude towards him changes. That's my conscious filter. Then we have our unconscious filter. So what do you think might be our unconscious filters? What do you think these are made up of? Perhaps as emotions, past experiences. Definitely. So the unconscious filters are things that we are unaware that we are filtering, and that's based on As Pat said, there's emotions, Neville says past experiences, and our reaction to certain things. So we're not aware of applying filters, however, because of our past experience, we apply them unconsciously. So we can either choose to consciously filter out information, or unconsciously we just let it come in, and we filter out the bits our unconscious says not to take on board, to take on interest in. So how does this work in practice? So we'll go to external event, and what happens is we then take on board that information, and we do that through our 5 senses. So these are visual, auditory, kinesthetic, gustatory, and olfactory. So basically we talk about how our 5 senses are used to encode the world around us. So in terms of training and learning, we know talk about people who are VAC learners, who are visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So that means that people take on board either visually, auditory, or in a kinesthetic manner. So as a trainer, we have to use those different training techniques to meet those 3 areas. Now people normally will take on board information using those 5 areas. However, we have one, that's the most important one for us, which is called our lead or primary route. So most people, typically very few people have gustatory or olfactory as a method. So once you actually take on board that experience, we then go through our first set of filters. The first set of filters are our conscious filters. As you correctly said, these are based on things like our memories, our decisions, the right and the wrong decisions, our attitude towards people, locations, situations, and the values and beliefs that we live our lives by. So those filters are things we apply consciously to a situation or to a communication interaction. So that's why sometimes you might find that people like to go on training courses, some people don't. That's based on their attitude towards training. It might be they had a bad experience of training before, they found it boring, they found it very hard to learn. So those sort of things will actually other people will switch off or be positive. So it's conscious filter. They can conscious the good, they can conscious the negative. Then we go through our unconscious filters, and these are what we call our deletions, our distortions, and our generalizations. So deletions really are things we did related to our experiences. So in terms of driving to call here this morning in your car, when you drove here in the car this morning, I guess you can remember the car in front of you, the cars to the side, and the cars to the back, and you're very aware of those things. However, maybe the street lights and the trees and the houses and the people and the shops were all deleted from your mind because you didn't need to know those. So what your mind does, your unconscious does, it deletes the things you don't need to be aware of or know about. If it didn't, you'd be bombarded with information and couldn't function. You'd have chaos in your head. So one thing we do is we delete. Next thing is we can distort. And what distortion means is, it's like going to a cinema and you go and see a film, and you can get really drawn into that film. Now, at that point in time, you really are, you believe in that film, you get taken into that area, you get in touch with that character. That's why we get scared at horror films, because we get drawn into it, our energy gets distorted. Also may be that you're in office and you find that people across the corner are talking and laughing, and it might be you feel they're talking about you, even though they're not. You have a distorted image or perception that they think they are. And last thing we have generalizations. So what these are the general approach we can apply to certain areas. So let's think about tables or doors. When you go and see a door, you know there's a hole in the wall. It's got a door made out of wood or metal. It's got a handle. It's got a hinge that opens and closes. You know it's a door. And you can see a whole bunch of doors, different shapes, sizes, colours, materials, and you know it's a door because you can generalise those key things and say it's a door. If you couldn't generalise, what happens is every time you came to a hole in the wall with a bit of wood in it or a bit of metal and a handle, you'd have to learn what it is. So when we can generalise, it makes understanding and learning a lot easier. Well, if we didn't have that, we would have to relearn all the time. So unconsciously we can either delete, distort, or generalise what we take from a situation. So we process that internally, and that will then shape how we respond to a situation. And we can respond negative and positive depend on what's come through our filters and what we've blocked out. You then will show that through your behaviour. So you are going to behave in a certain way based on what you've internally processed. And that can be then taken on board by the person you're talking to, who will then do the same thing. So you get a loop going around the two people. And that's why sometimes you find you don't get on with people, because you're in this loop and it blocks out certain things, or you unconsciously delete what they're saying, or you consciously make an effort to ignore them. So in any event, that's what happens. So in training, in work, in everyday life, we always go through that steps. We take on board the information from our 5 senses, and we consciously or unconsciously filter it. So for example, we see an advert in the paper, and it says, this is the finest restaurant in town, you need to come and see it. And so how your filters work would be, if you had a memory, you will go, oh, I've heard that before, and the restaurant's turned out to be just average. Because your memory says, don't always believe what they say in the paper. And then you have your attitude. Your attitude might be, the experiences are good, I'll try new things out. It might be, well, I don't like trying new things, I don't think I'll go there. Then we have your values. It might be that your value is you enjoy good, well-cooked food, which is healthy and balanced and is nutritional. And you like to share things with your family, you like to try new things in life. So because of that, you have an interesting experience. Then we talk about distortion. So it could be, if I eat too much food, I'll get fat, and if I get fat, I'll remember to make friends. If I don't make friends, I'll be lonely and miserable forever. So that one thing might distort your whole viewpoint on life. And then we delete. So you could say, fast restaurant in town, sure it is. But what about the price? I'm sure it'll be very expensive. Why doesn't it say anything about the price? So one said, you've ignored that it's a fast restaurant in town that does good food, and you're focusing on the price. So you're deleting one thing and substituting it for something else. And the last part will be generalization. Where I say, well, everybody says that. They all say they're best restaurant in town, but never turn out to be that way. That's when you generalize one thing across the board. And that process takes a second. You run through that in your conscious or unconscious mind, and you come up with your response to that experience. And that happens every time you do something. So it's always there. Any questions so far? So lastly then, I'd like to talk about being excellent. So in NLP, we have 4 pillars that we think make up excellent people. And this is based on the modelling that Bander and Grinder did of those people who are successful in their job, in their careers, in life. And they said these 4 things need to be in place to be successful. The first one is having an outcome. Know where you want to be, know what you want to achieve, knowing where you are, and know what you have to change to get to where you want to be. Any successful person has had goals in their life. They've had an idea of what they want to achieve. They might change it, but they have something there in the first place to actually aim towards. So having an outcome is the first step to being excellent. Also rapport. You need to be able to build up rapport with people, to build relationships, to build partnerships, to ask people for help, and to want people to help and work with you. If you've got rapport, you find you can get so much more done with the people around you than people you meet. So it's about having an idea of where you want to be and how to build relationships with other people. That's then followed by being flexible. You've heard the saying, if you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results. In terms of being excellent, it's about knowing that you can change, and there's a desire to change to make sure you can achieve what you want. So instead of sticking to the same thing, there's a different way of getting there, let's try that. Like Edison and his light bulb, he tried 1,000 times before he got the right materials and product made to get a light bulb. If he wasn't flexible, he'd have stopped at verse 2 or 3. So that flexibility is really helpful in terms of helping you achieve what you want to achieve. And then the 4th part is take action. If you've got an outcome, you've got a rapport, and if you're flexible, if you don't take action, you go nowhere. So taking action is the biggest thing that's helped people to be a success and achieve what they want. So those 4 things are the the 4 pillars that sort of underpin the whole process of NLP. Knowing what you want, building rapport, having flexibility, and taking action. And they're all underpinned by one other thing, and that's working from a psychology and physiology of excellence, which means having the correct mindset and having the correct posture and persona, how you hold yourself to be excellent. If you're feeling negative and you're slumped in a chair and you walk in a slump way, it's very hard to be positive and get things achieving. So by underpinning everything with that, working from I can be excellent, working in an excellent way, you will achieve success. So that's NLP's version of how to be success and how to achieve fantastic outcomes by having those 5 steps in place. Any questions that make perfect sense? Do you think you can all do that? Thank you, Vicky. Good. Excellent. So just to summarise the session then. So, who can tell me what the term NLP stands for and the 2 guys who developed it? Either answer me is via your microphone. If you want to, I can unmute you, or you can type it. Yeah, Bandering Grinder from Pat. Excellent. And the term NLP stands for? Neuro-linguistic programming. Who can describe for me how your mind processes information? How do we take on board information from the world around us? What do we do? What do we use? So, Vicky, 5 senses. Perfect. And then last thing, what are the 4 steps to achieving excellence? There's some good answers down there. Yeah, one from Pat, flexibility. 3 more to go. Yeah, the pillars. Taking action is one of them. Outcomes, and there's one more. Rapport. So that's it. So it's outcomes, rapport, flexibility, and taking action. And what was the 5th step? What underpins it all? So psychology, that's it, and as Vicky says, the physiology of being excellent. Well done, thank you for that. So any questions at all? That's been sort of a quick overview of NLP. It's only sort of scratch the surface here. If you have any questions or want more information, please feel free to contact me. Martin Sadler at thameslvalley.pn.police.uk. Not at the moment, John. We can maybe have a discussion around that, so what we can do. No NLP courses at the moment. But quite a few people said today they'd like to do a course, and perhaps something we can look at in the future. So thank you for your time. I've enjoyed your the half-hour work with you. I hope you've enjoyed a bit about NLP. I say it's only touch the surface. I hope you enjoyed using NCALT Live and seeing how it actually works and using the chat room. Unfortunately, I didn't get much time to do much talking because I only got 25 minutes, but maybe on a longer session we could have a longer talk about it. So thank you all very much for attending. Thank you for your time. And if you can please log off before you go, that'd be really good. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.